Hello, everyone, and welcome to another special episode of the D1 and D1n Podcast. It is Season 2, Episode whatever, March 4th, year of our Lord, 2025. And yes, I said March 4th. Everyone, it is the first podcast of March, so how about that, everyone? We made it to March.
Madness.
We're marching on.
We are marching on. Today we have, once again, 3 Mills, 1 pod. It is me, Nick, second oldest brother, Jake, and then Dusty, the D1 part in the Dun, or the D1 of the
I
Dun.
want to say 3 Mills, 1 dog.
3 Mills. We do have our beautiful dog, Disney, on the pod. We'll have to post a picture later. Speaking of dogs, Robbie may or may not be joining us. He's taking care of his own little guy right now, so all the power in the world to Robbie's dog named Rizzo. Yes, the Yankees' first baseman. So sending loves and prayers to Rizzo and Robbie and everyone. But this episode of the D1 Done Podcast is brought to you by the official Mountain West correspondent. And yes, they have paid up. The benefactors of the podcast, the Hagen Hall Boys. Follow us on social media. If you listen to our pod already, you know where to find us. Please leave a 5-star review. It works, I think. So before we get into it, we're going to do a little different rundown today, more condensed, especially because we thought Robbie was going to be on the road during this, but we're not sure anymore. Either way, mostly normal pod, just a few change-ups. But before we get into it, how you doing, brothers?
I would say doing great. It was a fun weekend. As we told everyone, I was in Lexington to watch the Cats look like hell against Auburn.
Oh, yeah.
Keeps going to my hot take that Auburn's going to be the best team of this decade, and they looked like it on Saturday. But great time. A lot of games to talk about, and overall life is good. Conference tournaments have started. On last night. I believe there's 4 more conferences that play tonight.
I have it written down. Yes, South Commission is. Thank you, Bo, which is right here. The A-Sun has kicked off in, if your boys' homework is correct, I believe the Big South Horizon, the NEC, OVC, Patriot, Summit, and Sunbelt all start before we pod again on Thursday.
Yep. And then Thursday starts day games. I believe the Missouri Valley Arch Madness starts at 1 o'clock Eastern, I believe, on Thursday.
That is a true sign that March is near when we start getting day games. Jakey, how we doing?
Good. We got, let's see Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday. We have 5 days of work left before we head to Nashville as a group. Also, you guys may notice I look like I'm in a similar background of where Nick is usually sitting. Nick has since moved out of our apartment. I had to kick him out. He just wasn't doing enough around here, so had to kick him to the floor. And no, I'm kidding. But no, happy to have my full desk back, actually. But,
yeah, we had to give you a full desk now that you're a bigger part of the pod, Jake. So, thank you for the Hagen Hall Boys for.
I need more space. So yeah, the Hagen Hall Boys. I need there's a few screws missing over here. If you guys could, send over a Venmo to get these screws fixed out, I'd be very happy. Donnelly.
Yes, please Venmo Jake or anyone else on the podcast. To start off today's pod, we're going to do as always everyone's top stories. So. Anyone itching to get their story off first? Brotherins?
Dusty?
I'm just sitting here looking at the SEC standings right now. It is just chaos. I was even at my where my wife and I go to work out, and I was literally asked by another person at the gym what Oklahoma's conference record was. And I was correct when I said I think it's 4-12. And he was like, and they're one of the teams like still in the tournament, even though Lenardi has his first team out. This conference is absurd. And I mean, even the fact that tonight Nick and I are going to watch the Kentucky game together. They're playing LSU. They're 12.5-point favorites, and I'm terrified. And they're 15th in this league. And so that's one of my stories, just how good this conference is. I want to talk about the Alabama-Tennessee game at some point, which I heard on the radio, and then ran into the house coming home from Lexington, saw the shot to end it. Last second. But this conference is absurd, and I just have this feeling that for some reason, even though how they were so good in non-conference, if let's say 13 teams make it, what's gonna be the relapse from like 7 of them losing the first round?
Yeah, because I remember when the Big Ten had that couple. Not to pick on the Big Ten. I think it was 21. They had a ton of teams making only one made the second weekend.
Oh, but yeah, maybe it was one made this weekend.
Was Iowa?
No, they lost to Oregon to Chris Duarte in the second. If the year I'm thinking of, the year I'm thinking of is Michigan lost in the I believe Elite Eight to UCLA. But yeah, I'm actually going to my top story because to kind of piggyback off yours, Crab. Also to add to about the depth of the SEC. I mean, Arkansas got smacked at South Carolina over the weekend.
Smoked.
And South Carolina has a surefire first round pick on team too, and they're the worst team in the conference. But yeah, the parlay in my
and beat Clemson.
and beat Clemson, who is a top 15, top 20 team. It's just crazy. But yeah, my top story is Auburn and the fact that I think Gary Parrish made this point that they may have locked up the number 1 seed even if they were to lose 3 in a row going to a tournament, which I think that'd be the first time in a while someone's wrapped up the number 1 overall seed with 2 weeks to spare. That's I have no data back that up. But yeah, Auburn's 27-2.
Weird to me.
What did you say? Sorry.
It's weird to me that they could lose their next 3 games, regardless of opponent, and they're like, nope, they're still the number 1 overall. So I feel like,
yeah, it would. So if they were to lose 3 straight, they'd be 27-5 at A&M, home Bama, and then probably Kentucky or Mississippi State on.
The only reason I don't agree with that statement is because, I mean, Duke's beat the hell out of everyone. So if Auburn did lose 3 straight, how's Duke not the number 1 overall seed if they keep winning?
And they beat them head to head.
Correct. Thank you.
But I'll see what the argument that people say that is locked up. Like I said, they are 27-2. They won maybe the toughest conference ever with 2 games to play. They have 16 quad 1 wins. No one else has more than 10, so no one's going to catch them there at all. And their 2 losses currently, like I said, if they lose out, this could change. Their 2 losses are the second best team in the country to many people in Florida, who's what, Jake? Top 5 consensus team, I'll say all around. So those other 2 losses at this third best in the country, some say number 1, according to our producer. Also, I just want to shout out Bruce Pearl. It's crazy again what he has done to Auburn basketball. They've now made the tournament 5 times since 2019, 4 to the top 5 seed, twice as top 2 seed in the Final Four in there. So, I mean, you guys remember going to SEC tournament growing up. Like, Auburn may have been the worst. Robbie joined. Hi, Robbie.
Hi, guys.
How you doing, sir?
Doing all right.
Good. We were just talking about Auburn and how they might have the 1 seed locked up, and I'll shout out Bruce Pearl. And how, like, yeah, Auburn, again, we went to SEC tournament growing up. They may have the most consistently least fans there. So shout Bruce Pearl, shout Auburn. They're
still
very good.
Well,
I also did not know that they were consensus number 1 in AP this week. So all 61 votes went to them, and 30 of the 31 coaches. Somehow, can we find that Coach K was the one coach that didn't vote for them?
Quiet. So, yeah, I just want to shout Auburn. Jake, what's your top story?
my top story, Nick, is the one and only Indiana Hoosiers, who are going to make the, as we've talked about before, are going to make the tournament now, or most likely, unless they completely fail out, most likely they're going to make the tournament. 3 of the last 4 years are Mike Woodson, and he has already announced his retirement. AKA, we are going to fire you, but you're a former player, so we're going to let you, use your platform to say you retired and stepping down and stepping away, so that it doesn't look bad on the organization. But I say that as saying is, does IU making the tournament make it more intriguing for some of these coaches who are finally kind of interested to, I think, take a peek? A Dusty May, a Rick Pitino, a Bruce Pearl, some names that you hear thrown around of guys that IU should go after. Does this team making the tournament give more of hope for them or not, Nick? What do you think?
I think it is what it is. I mean, I really don't know what they could possibly do because again, even if they went to the Final Four, it's still the same, because I think a lot of players, I guess, because it's tough, like, you don't necessarily know who's coming back, and it feels like the olden days, I'll say yes, because you could probably have a better idea what the roster is, but
we got these guys.
The fact it's going to be roster turnover anyways, I really don't know if them going far or not makes any sort of difference. Purdue fan Robbie, what do you think about Jake's question?
Well, I'm more excited about if IU makes a run to the Final Four, do they decide, you know what, we should actually keep Mike Woodson. This was probably a better idea that we don't fire him. I think that's the bigger story here because I will be honest, IU has the talent to do some weird stuff. They are good enough defensively, and if they can, and if Mackenzie Mbako's on, Mackenzie Mbako is one of the most underrated and most streaky shooters in all of college basketball. If things get weird and they go on one of these like 2002 type of runs, how do you not bring back Mike Woodson?
Well, the only argue there is that's why he's stepping down, is that it's his call, not IU's.
Right.
So could they change his mind? I think it is the weird. Could they? Do you think they get to a point? Do you think he wants to be there, or he understands that it was his time, or
the man wants to sit in a cigar lounge and smoke cigars and talk to Quinn Buckner and do nothing. Mike Woodson does not want to do anything remotely close to coaching anymore. In my opinion.
That may be why they're playing so loose, though. Is it could be senioritis for him.
That could be part of it. And does it make the job more highly sought after? Not necessarily. It's IU. It's going to be one of the best jobs that is going to be available. And I think with how poor the selection of options that's going to be out there. I mean, last year was the year to make the jump. Last year there were so many big-time job openings in college basketball. You had Louisville, you had Michigan. Those were names that if you were Kentucky, I mean, kind of. But if you were trying to make a jump to get to a big D1 position, that was it. It's not happening right now. North Carolina had a possibility of being open. Now Hubert Davis is coming back, which I don't understand. That makes no sense to me, but I guess they want to give him a chance with the general manager. So this is going – I mean, I think I kind of poo-pooed the notion of IU was going to be the most highly sought-after job opening this offseason, and I got to be honest, there's not very many good openings that are going to be out there right now. I think everything's pretty much – I mean, outside of maybe Cincinnati, if Wes Miller gets the hook, I don't really.
Virginia's probably the other big one right now.
Maybe.
As people remember, pre-Tony Bennett, that was a pretty much dead program.
Right, and you could throw Florida State and Miami in there too, but like those aren't
now.
Yeah, those aren't great jobs, and I would argue, again, is IU a great job right now? I think it's going to take the perfect coach to make it a great job. And they continued to – Chris Beard makes the most sense. I know Nick and I have gone back and forth on Mick Cronin, whether it would be a good hire or not. I think IU would be absolutely crazy if Mick Cronin had any interest whatsoever not to pick up the phone and make the call and ask Mick Cronin, do you want to come coach us? I think IU would be idiots not to at least try to get Mick Cronin, because he is what Bob Knight used to be. And so many from IU want to go back to the Bob Knight days. That's Mick Cronin. So if that's the guy, great. But this notion that they're going to relive the glory days, as I've mentioned, you got to have realistic expectations with this entire situation. I don't think that's possible for IU because they're too used to seeing the banners in Assembly Hall and thinking they can relive the glory days quickly. It's not going to be an overnight thing. It's going to take some time. Can they get there? Sure. But they need to be realistic.
Yeah, so I agree. I think this whole Woodson IU thing and the coaching search going forward is one of the most fascinating stories of college basketball, maybe because we live here. So they have banners there like the 1975 UPI poll champions, so important banners like that. But Robbie, we've all said our top story. What's your top story, Mr. D?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have been following Evan Miyakawa on Twitter, but he came out. Okay, he came out with this really cool graphic of teams in their efficiency rating and where they're going to be rated in March in terms of their seed, and how some are going to be seeded below their seed number. You want to take a wild guess as to the team that is going to be seeded the lowest, that's going to be the most dangerous according to Mia's efficiency rating?
Illinois.
No, Illinois is not on there.
Kentucky?
Not Kentucky.
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga is according to Evan Miyakawa, he says Gonzaga is going to be the most dangerous team in the tournament because they're going to be so underseeded. A couple other teams that were in that conversation were he thinks Duke should be the overall number one seed, I think. which, according to the metrics, but Auburn's going to be the overall number 1 seed. We all get that. Houston is playing above what normal 1 seeds are playing at. So is Duke. And the crazy one is UC San Diego. That's the one that is. They're playing.
They've 11 straight, I believe, or 11 or 12.
Yeah, they're playing great in the Big West. So.
Oh, I know. Big West Jake over here.
So if we're talking about,
you can take out the West.
Pre-tourney seedings, pre-tourney by seed, the team, and this has been a good predictive metric to kind of show where you could have an opportunity for some upsets. UC San Diego and Gonzaga were the 2 prime ones that I kind of picked out to being teams to watch out for. Another weird one is Ohio State. That was one that, according to the efficiency metrics and ratings, is a team that could potentially pull off a stunner. Princeton was in that mix a couple of years ago when they were in 15 seed and made to the Sweet 16. Mia's metrics actually called the fact that they were underseeded as a 15 and had a chance to make a run. So if you're looking to kind of find maybe an upset or two to circle to potentially pick, look at these predictive metrics. It's on his Twitter page, which I found fascinating. And you'd be shocked at some of the teams that are above that dotted line that are going to be underseeded. Gonzaga is bucking the trend. Duke, Houston is in that same conversation. So it's going to be fascinating to see. I mentioned it as one of my hot takes before we got it into March that I think we're going to have 10 double-digit seeds at least win a first-round game this year. I think there's going to be that much chaos and parity when we get into the tournament this season.
Or at the very least, just whoever Purdue's play in the first round.
Well, obviously, yes. And I have.
Brad, we can't make those jokes.
I know. The Susan said that.
So Mia came out with a predictive bracket where Purdue's a 4 seed. The 13 seed they would play is honestly a matchup nightmare. Liberty.
I was going to think, what's McNeese going to stumble into?
They were 12 last year.
They're probably going to be a 12 again.
12.
That is a terrifying 12 seed.
But we said that last year, and then Gonzaga blew them off the court.
Smoked them.
But I feel like Gonzaga has made it. I think Gonzaga's made it to the second weekend.
8 straight years.
8 straight years. So there you go. So that's going to be really tough for Gonzaga to do as a 9 seed this year. And that's why in one of the bracketologies, it was UConn Gonzaga was the 8-9, and they were going to play Auburn as the 1. Like, seriously? That's how you're rewarding the number 1 overall seed? That's crazy. But it's also, like, Gonzaga is scary, not just because they're a team that can make a run. They're also a team that can lose quickly and be done fast because they're so volatile because they should be so much better than what they are. So throw that into the mix as well of teams that are going to be underseeded according to their metrics and efficiency ratings. It's going to be fascinating to keep an eye on that going forward.
Bryant Bulldogs are on this list too.
Bryant's in there too. There's been a couple people already that have come out and said, yeah, if Bryant plays Purdue, that should be the team that you should pick to beat Purdue, which at this point, yes, you can pick any team to beat Purdue in the first round. It's fine. I get it. It is what it is. But I think it is what it is. But yeah, I was trying to look at those the relative ratings. So Michigan State's on there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan State's a team that's above the dotted line. Michigan State continues to break my brain, and I don't understand it, and it pisses me off. I wish Tom Izzo would just retire so we can be done with this February Izzo. I want it to be done. Michigan State is having a great season, and it doesn't make sense. It really does. It does not. I don't understand. Same with Michigan, but Michigan, I think they're going to start coming back down to earth. If that's a team, Michigan, you want a first-round upset team and like a 3-14 game, that would be the one I would pick.
Couple things to add to what you said, Robbie. I believe Gonzaga has 8 losses by combined 33 points. So their season, I feel like, could be completely different that easy. You mentioned Ohio State. There's a good chance that's very inflated from their performances against Kentucky and Purdue. We might have to take that content.
Perhaps, yes.
When it turns to the 2016 Warriors. But, yeah. I always appreciate, Robbie, you're one of the few people actually, probably the only guy who gives analytics on the show. So thank you. It's great to have you back, Robbie.
Guys, it's good to be back. I apologize. So our dog, Rizzo, had tooth surgery yesterday. So he had to actually have a tooth extracted. So I
During
had to come
spring
home and
training?
take care of him. What's that?
During spring training?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you realize how important the mouth is for bat dogs. Like he's been going through the spring training of getting bats out of the batter's box. So
Hey, I saw Air Bud use that snout a lot. So
it's challenging. He can't do that. So he got one of his canines removed, which is a non-vital tooth. And this is all talk that I'm sure people are very happy to be having about a dog's
First pot
mouth.
of March, baby.
hey,
Yep, there you go.
I'm learning something.
So he's doing Rizzo, you gonna come here, buddy?
And somehow, Robbie, Rizzo, your dog's more healthy than Anthony Rizzo, so you have that going for you.
That's shocking because Rizzo's been through 2 ACL surgeries. So
Which one?
The dog.
not the
How about Giancarlo and Stan having tennis elbow in both elbows?
Both elbows. That's impressive.
Wow.
That's like when Carson Wentz had 2 sprained ankles for the Colts. Shout out to him. All right, those are our top stories. Enough about Carson Wentz. So,
yeah. There's
Yeah,
our Carson
Carson.
Wentz mention on the pod. Never again.
all right, today, like I said, we switched up a little bit about the order of the pod. Instead of us individually breaking down a game, I'm just going to rip through all the notable results in the past 4 days because we've missed everything from Friday to last night, which was Monday, March 3rd. So I'm just going to rip through these, and then after that, open forum, where you guys want to take it. Sound good, friends?
Let's do it.
Yep.
Alrighty. Starting Friday, Purdue's Boilermakers got off the Schneid with a 76-66 win over UCLA.
Throw
Good
a
stuff,
parade, baby! Throw a parade! We finally won a game.
We're back.
Stop
So
the
back.
bleeding. You know who's not back? Kentucky Wildcats are not back, and you probably don't know this because ABC decided not to show the last 12 minutes of the basketball game. We greatly appreciate it in the Bluegrass. Auburn beat Kentucky 94-78. Miles Kelly had 9 threes. It was insane. Jackson Robinson, the real news for Kentucky out of this, is now out for the year. Don't want to get too deep in the weeds. I think that their ceiling has considerably lowered. Not giving up on a team. I have zero idea what to expect.
Should they
going forward.
should they turn down the NCAA tournament bid and just go in IT and see if Pope can get some type of victories in his year one?
Shut up. Shut up, okay?
One good
Sorry.
Florida season, and this guy's talking smack.
That's what I'm
It's a big
saying.
deal. Jeez.
Producer over here.
Yeah, a
All
lot
right,
of
other-
crap when Florida lost to Kentucky.
Great point.
Did.
You know who else keeps losing? The Kansas Jayhawks. They lost 78-73 on
Oh,
their
my
home floor
gosh.
to Texas Tech. Bill Self gave some weird statement. He posted on the X, the Everything app afterwards. I don't know what's going on in
I
Orange,
can
Kansas.
give you some insight on that.
Please do.
So,
Hey, wait till we get to the highlight
Okay.
real results too. Yeah,
Gotcha.
Please, I want to hear this though. Please.
Okay.
All right, this is good podcasting. All right, the other one Dustin wants to talk about later. Tennessee knocked Alabama off 79-66 or 79-76. Meshack hit the game winner. Great game. We'll talk about that more later. Louisville keeps on winning. They beat Pittsburgh 79-68. Vanderbilt beat Missouri. They just keep on winning 97-93. Jake Skaters took care of business for College Game Day. We watched it. Shout out Pittsburgh Bar, which was a Tequila Cowboy watched it in, right, Jake?
Yep.
Shout out to them. We can talk about them more later. Iowa State beat Arizona 84-67. And yes, Robbie, Caleb Love was 2 of 15 from the field. Whatever. We move
he's
on.
back, baby. We're back. Purdue wins one game. Caleb Love starts to suck. We're so back.
Moving on, we have other things to talk about. Colorado State smoked Utah State 93-66.
Let's
Good
go,
Lord.
Ethan Morton. Let's go.
Shout out, I love the coach of Colorado State. I always forget his name, Medvedev, something like that. Shout out to him.
Can't remember his name, but yes,
Tennis
that's
player?
a tennis player.
That may be what I'm thinking of, Jake. Other news from Saturday, St. John's, Duke, Houston all took care of business, whatever. Michigan State beat Wisconsin on Sunday, 71-62. Sparty just keeps on winning. Robbie mentioned him earlier. Illinois smoked Michigan 93-73. Michigan only wins close games. Memphis did hold off Robbie's Blazers and Andy Kennedy.
Close game.
88-61.
Yeah.
Really close game. And then last night, Houston knocked off Kansas 65-59 in senior night. And like we mentioned earlier, the A-Sun tournament has started, and many other more will continue to follow. So those are notable results. You guys can take wherever you're at. Robbie, I'll start with you since you had that note on Bill Self.
Yeah, I'll start with Kansas. First off, they suck. We all know that. It's amazing how poor they are. Hunter Dickinson had a comment in the post-game press conference last night where he says, Bill Self's a Hall of Fame coach. He wouldn't have brought in he knows that they have talented players. They wouldn't have brought in non-talented players. And I'm like, no one walked up to the podium and put a mirror in front of Hunter Dickinson's face and said, "Hey, you're the problem, Chief." So until that happens, Kansas is going to suck. Hunter Dickinson has to be maybe one of the worst 20-10 team players in college basketball history, and he's brought that team down completely. In terms of the statement that Bill Self made, you can check it out on Twitter, where basically it was a weird statement where he basically just like danced around the issue and didn't actually completely address it. So what exactly came out was Zeke Mayo, after the loss to Texas Tech, posted these racist and hateful DMs he got on Twitter, posted them on Twitter, eventually removed them, and that's what it was actually about. And I just want the show, for the record, to be: we are against racism. That's not cool. Okay, we're not going to be that kind of those kind of people.
I would say we're anti-DMing players unless it's like something super positive. There's really no ever good reason.
No, not even that. Just don't DM anyone. Just unless it's a significant other or someone that you're trying to get with. Don't do it. Just don't. Stay away from the DMs. It does no one any good. How would you know? You have no idea.
Okay. Keep it going there.
Okay, yeah.
Robbie.
So anyway, so that's the statement that Bill Self came out with, basically, going like basically saying our fans are the greatest fans in the world, but we don't condone the actions of a few. In not so uncertain terms, Bill Self basically said our fans suck right now and our team sucks, and I get it. It is what it is. They were in that game all last night against Houston, and they turned the ball over 20 times and still hung around. So, no, they haven't been playing great. Are they still going to make the tournament? Yes, probably as a 9 or a 10 seed. I think there's still that like hope that they somehow figure it out magically, but it's not going to happen because AJ Store's terrible. You have, we mentioned it before, there's no, Ochai Abaji, Jalen Wilson. None of those guys are walking through that door. They've got a 4-man that can only shoot 6-footers, a 5-man that wants to be a 2-man, a 1-man that can't shoot, a 2-man that's 6'1". Like it's a flawed team. And then they got guys coming off the bench like AJ Store and David Coit, who are good players, but AJ Store has been a complete disappointment, and he's the perfect example of what is wrong when you can start taking money in NIL and it goes down. It's downward spirals very quickly. So if this, we're not playing the Kansas theory here. It's not happening this year. It is, and I mentioned it, I think, on the last pod that maybe Bill Self, it's kind of time for him to ride into the sunset. He will forever be one of the best coaches of all time, but I don't know if his eye for bringing in the right talents is really working. Or, you could turn it on its head. Now everyone can pay for players. It's starting to directly affect Kansas and the kind of guys they want to bring in.
Well, Robbie, you went into something I was just want to I'm trying to find it right now. Do we know the top 10 most expensive teams in NIL this year?
Good question. I know.
Yes, but there's not anything like official.
Because I would say, for example, IU was on there. Kansas is on there. I mean, for two teams for
Kansas
two.
Kansas State, Arkansas.
Kansas State's in the top 10. Yeah.
Arkansas.
So we'll use those 4 teams who none of them sniff the top 10 in the country. None of them sniff the top 20 in the country.
Yeah.
Kansas, who as we know for years, has brought in these teams who have guys that just find ways to make things happen. Now they're starting to pay for things. Is there a evaluation system that is flawed in college basketball right now when it comes to NIL? And when I say that is, yes, of course, how the 4 of us are going to look at a player is going to vary, of course. But is it going to vary in such the things that Store was one Store?
Yeah,
he was one of the. I think he was the second most expensive player in the country, in the transfer portal.
Yeah,
he wouldn't sniff the Florida roster right now at playing time. He wouldn't sniff. Hell, he may not even sniff a Butler starting roster right now. I mean, but he has been that poor of a performer this year. And you look at it, same with Ballo at IU. They've had some of their better parts of the season when his ass is on the bench. I wonder who is behind all these evaluations of these players but there are ones that have hit, like Lanier's hit very, very well for Tennessee and some other players of that nature where the expense.
Ari Richmond.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But the players that have done well are the ones that didn't get paid the most. It's almost as if here's this crazy notion: 18 to 20 to 21-year-olds are immature and can't handle this at all, and that could be part of it as well. Coleman Hawkins and don't forget Great Osibor. He probably got paid $2 million to go to Washington. He's been really bad. It's all these big names that got these big number contracts or big number NIL deals, and I don't know if it's a product of just the team that they're going to or that they took the money and they're good, but it's shocking. It's shocking how bad AJ Storr has been. Like that maybe that's the biggest surprise is we saw how good he was last year with Wisconsin. We also saw Coleman Hawkins is an above-average basketball player. There was no reason why he should have gotten that much money from Kansas State. We all agree on that. He got overpaid. But A.J. Storr, I think everyone kind of said, yeah, you know what? He's a really good player, and if he even scratches the surface at what he did at Wisconsin, it's going to be great at Kansas. But he's reverted, like he's gotten worse. So has Great Osibor. Great Osibor has been terrible at Washington. So maybe we need to rethink kind of how roster construction should be done. It's not let's go out and pay for the best talent. How is it going to work within our program and our team? Because right now the best player like Chaz Lanier, Dalton Connect, those are two players that put in nicely into that lineup in Tennessee, and look how successful they've been.
One thing I just want to say, I think this happens to pro sports too. Like you talk about Coleman Hawkins getting 2-0 from Kansas State. Like this happens like the Reds in baseball. When you know all things being equal, you can't get the guy you want free agency. You overspend then. So if you are at Kansas State, you are going to give $2 million to Coleman Hawkins, whereas, Kansas a bad example at this particular time, but you get my point. Yeah. A bigger, well-known program may not have to give up $2 million to Coleman Hawkins, so that's where Kansas State. I think that happens sometimes. I think we need to consider that. Dusty, what is your top story, or what's your takeaway from the games I listed out earlier?
Mine was that Tennessee-Alabama game. I think I mentioned earlier we were listening to that on the radio on the way home from Lexington, and had to park the car in our parents' driveway to sprint inside to see the end of it, and Lily turned the TV on as, who was it, Maychak, right? Who... He's not the person I thought would take that shot.
If of the 5 players on the floor, I think Alabama probably that's the guy you want to take it.
Yep.
So it's funny too because we actually went back outside because we heard the Sirius XM had the Alabama radio call, and so we saw it on TV, saw it happen, went back outside and heard the Alabama call because it was delayed by about a minute, and that's when they were yelling about that Rick Barnes was trying to call a timeout. And he was like adamantly trying to call a timeout.
Wow.
And they didn't call it, and then he drains that 3. And if anyone gets a chance, if you listen to this, go back and listen to the Alabama broadcast because you talk about going straight silent. It was one of those was like mid-check for 3, and then you just hear the crowd roar, and then just Tennessee has won the ball game. And it just like slowly goes on from there, and then the other guy comes in, and he's like, Barnes was trying to call a timeout. I'm not sure why they didn't give him the timeout. Where, if he misses the shot.
Which, want to throw something there, Barnes is not allowed to call a timeout, if people remember in college basketball.
I thought you are under 2 minutes, the coach can.
Oh.
I could be wrong with that. I thought they changed that rule a couple years ago where it has to be the head coach, but I believe maybe 1 minute. It's something where...
Okay, that makes more sense then, because I know, I at least know in the first half, and especially throughout the majority of the game, one of the 5 players on the court has to call the timeout.
I know it got brought up during a Memphis game a couple Sundays ago about when a coach can call a timeout from the sideline. So, sorry, listeners, we're not fully sure what the rule is, but I do know that something...
Good thing we have a former D1 player on the pod.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, but that rule's changed so much more from him to me to... it's been...
It was right there for the taking. But yeah, Dusty, Barnes did try, like you mentioned it, there's a hilarious screen grab of the shot going in, and Barnes is furious. Like, he doesn't even see the shot go in.
He wishes he missed just so he could have his power move.
They, asked him after the game something along the lines of, was that the play? Did you think it was going in? Blah, blah, blah. And he literally said, I have no idea. I didn't see it. I was too busy complaining about the no timeout. So, Even from Barnes' own mouth, he was trying to call it. But
That's funny.
So that's my thing. Is that was an amazing game. I would say probably the game of the year in college basketball so far. And what a great lead up to. I mean, again, as I said at the start of the show, this SEC tournament is going to be insane.
Yeah.
Jake, any takeaways from those results I said earlier, or Bama, Tennessee?
Bama, Tennessee, shout out to the Marriott in Pittsburgh that Nick and I were in for the weekend.
Not a sponsor.
No, not a sponsor. No free sponsorships. But yeah, Nick and I got to celebrate, watch some college basketball late night in Pittsburgh. And first of all, I want to go ahead real quick, and yes, definitely not a sponsor. You guys have heard of Tom's Watch Bar?
It's a pretty pricey restaurant, yes.
Well,
At least the one in Indy is sick.
yeah, no. I'd say pricey's. I mean, it's a sporting. Yes, Dusty.
A coach can call live ball timeout in the last 2 minutes of the second half in any overtime period.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Hey,
go.
my face. Good call, Crab.
Good job.
Yeah, former Division I, knows the rules.
Okay. But Tom's Watch Bar is known for having any sport, all TVs, all views. We are going to have, you want to watch top 5 games? Cool. We're going to have 500 TVs in front of you. However, Nick and I pull up to Pittsburgh, and I find a Tom's Watch Bar. Cool. You know what? Thinking easily, they no doubt have SEC Network. Think again. They don't have SEC Network, not even Big Ten Network, let alone are showing anything but the fight Friday or Saturday night. So Nick and I had to quickly leave, but I just want to give a shout out to the Indy Tom Watch Bar because that would never happen in Indy. But the one in Pittsburgh, I'm highly disappointed in.
Come on, Pittsburgh, Tom. Jeez.
And shout out Redbeards. We called ahead and got Florida on there. We get there, and Jake immediately says, "No, it's Uber to Tom's Watch Bar." So we already have the setup. So I just want
Red Beers didn't look as much as much as environmental
good. Yeah, no, you made it. It
for us
was.
here in a different town that I like.
It was a weird.
I also
ride there.
drove 5.5 hours there, and I was ready to get rowdy. So
Yeah, shout out. Anything else, Jake? Any other takeaways? Good win, Florida.
good win for the Gators. A great weekend of basketball, and we are gearing up for another wonderful final ending to the, I believe, the 8 through 13 seeds in the SEC are about to be decided here between Tuesday and Wednesday night. So a lot of good basketball on tonight.
Where are we at with Kentucky then on this? Do we want them to drop? And
They can't go 0-2.
Okay.
They have to win tonight.
They have to win one to avoid our early visit to Nashville.
And
So
they're
they
still
have
the they're still the 8 seed right now, which is the worst possible seed to play on Thursday. And they're home LSU tonight, and then at Missouri Saturday.
Are we trying to avoid Auburn at all costs then? Is that kind of the thinking?
We're trying to
Or is it
avoid the 9 seed.
Just trying to avoid the 9. Okay.
For our selfish travel reasons. It's the only
Very
thing
much
we
Yeah.
worry about.
We don't want to play noon on Wednesday. How's that?
Yeah.
And for a depleted, injured team right now, I think less games is better.
Yeah, real quick, Crab, any comments, any thoughts on Jackson being out for the year?
It's sad. We kept talking about not rushing him back, and I'm not saying they did, but clearly he re-injured it against Oklahoma. Appreciate him coming out, and I loved him as a player. It just sucks. So good luck to him. Hope he can get healthy. This is going to be 100% healing after the surgery, and hope he can find a slot in the draft and have a good NBA career. So thank you for the 5 months he gave us, and good luck to him. But disappointing, and I think that it's the NCAA tournament. Any team can go win 6 games. Or 7 if you have to. But I would say that really hurts their chance of making an unreal run in Pope's first season.
Oh, yes.
But you never know.
You guys could start as many Whites as Iowa.
We can get crazy with it.
Wow.
We can definitely get crazy. I didn't even force our max, Jake, to be fair. I don't know if we can get higher than that.
Is Kerr coming back?
I don't think so. Just
Kerr doesn't count as Kerr's Eastern European. He's not technically white, right?
Is he even Eastern European or is he Asian? Because his name is Kerr, right? His name is Kerr Carissa, but Kerr's on his back. I mean,
Krisa is that's a very Croatian name. I feel like
The Jake's gonna pull like Yao Ming right now.
Do you think
he's
Asian?
Estonian.
He did not say custodian, Jake. Estonian.
Estonian.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He's
As a country in Europe.
well.
Any other major takeaways before we move on to Bubble Watch?
I mean, no one wants to talk about how great Purdue looked.
The bubble watch.
They covered. I know that.
I mean, yeah, we don't need to talk about Purdue. It is what it is. I'm glad they won. Let's move on. I'm going to see them tonight, but yeah.
Please win, because the Pods had a tough time with boots on the ground this year. We've seen a lot of.
Have I seen Purdue win this year?
I'm 2-2 in person.
I think I'm 0-3 this year.
All right,
That's not great.
Bet for tonight.
Robbie, we were just talking this weekend about Kentucky, me seeing them in person. They've lost the last 2 times I've seen the SEC tournament. I was at the St. Peter's game. I was at my last game in Rupp, was the Richmond game. I believe last time I saw him win in Rupp was 2016 with my older brother. So I don't think I've seen them win. When we say what Tampa was that 2022?
Yep.
So 3 full years since I've seen my Cats win in person.
You beat
Nice.
Jerry Stackhouse on a Thursday night. Friday night.
So I
Oh,
forgot the first game of the season when Purdue played Yale. I was there. So
Damn.
so that was a
game of the year?
win. Was that the first game of the year? Hold on, who did they play first game of the year?
Wait, speaking
Was
of
it Yale?
Yale,
No, Corpus Christi. Sorry, Corpus Christi.
Yale,
They
Yale
beat
finally
Corpus.
lost in the Ivy League this weekend.
Oh, they actually lost? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
Thank you, Crab. I missed that one.
I did too. Oh, Harvard beat them?
Harvard,
Really?
yeah. There's a spelling bee.
Wow, that's a bit of a shocker. Okay.
Spelling bee.
All right, we all good then? Anyone else? Major takeaways?
I still hate Michigan State.
They keep on winning, Rob.
Rob, you have to talk one off on them because I so agree.
Well, good thing it is 04.
Oh, speaking of which, one last thing about Michigan State. Yes, January, February is if you want, but the man sucks in April. And for those who don't know, the national championship and Final Four games take place in April almost every year.
That's not the lie.
There we go.
Yes, I think
to
it-
the bubble watch.
To the Bubble Watch. Again, I'm going to go through this. I apologize to fans. A lot of me yapping today. Again, just a different kind of format today. We'll be back to our normal schedule. But yes, everyone is March. So, Selection Sunday is 2 weeks from last Sunday. So, this is a very pertinent conversation. This is the bracket matrix from March 3rd. All right, last 5 teams in. The first 3 are actually all Big Ten teams. Indiana, who's on W3, and at Oregon tonight, and home Ohio State on Saturday. Speaking of Ohio State, they're the 4th last team in. Beat USC last week, and listen to this. They got Nebraska, who's the 3rd last team in right now, and IU this week. So just a ton of Big Ten bubble watch this week. Indiana, Ohio State, and Nebraska are the 5th, 4th, and 3rd last teams in right now. Kind of crazy. And other than IU and Nebraska, they're all going to play each other this week. Last 2 teams in right now, the Arkansas Razorbacks, Cal's guys, who went 1-1 last week, got the big one against Texas. They got, like we mentioned earlier, got slaughtered at South Carolina. They have a big week this week at Vandy, home Mississippi State. And the last team in, according to Matrix, as of yesterday, somehow, someway, Oklahoma, who's lost 7 of 8 basketball games.
No.
They're, like Dusty said earlier, 4-10.
Get out of here.
Conference, home Missouri, either tonight or tomorrow, and then at Texas to close out over the weekend. I got nothing on Oklahoma. I cannot believe they're still in right now.
Oklahoma should be out. Arkansas should be disqualified for losing by that much at South Carolina. Like I don't care.
Nick,
Like,
at the over.
That's ridiculous. The other, like Nebraska, Ohio State, Indiana. I mean, you can make an argument for Nebraska, no, because
L3 right now.
I mean, they're not playing very well, and they kind of hit a hot streak. Now they're down there a low streak. The problem is that there just are not a lot of very good options behind them. Because I know you were probably going to get to it, but I'll jump the gun.
Go ahead.
Boise State, Xavier, North Carolina are the next 3 out.
And then Texas.
In Texas. Like, there's just... And then Wake Forest gets boat race last night. Like, how are you going to put Wake Forest in? You aren't. So, I think there's going to be a team come Selection Sunday that no one is anticipating that the committee's going to put in. Because also, I think we are so, like, I don't trust anything Joe Lunardi puts on his bracketology because the amount of pedal pushing that they're doing for the ACC is ridiculous. Like, it's stupid. Like, SMU is not a tournament team. Wake Forest is not a tournament team. Like, I hope they put UC Irvine in. I really
They made
like
the Matrix this week, people. UC Irvine made the Matrix.
Give me 2 teams from the
Big
Big West. And I'm fine with Texas being in. I think Texas is a tournament caliber team.
Hook 'em horns and street tacos, Robbie.
Real quick on that, Robbie. Texas has lost 6 of 7. Shout Kentucky for being their lone win. I would say
That's funny.
The first 2 teams out right now, actually, I think Boise State and Xavier are pretty legit. Maybe because, Boise State's won 4 in a row. They beat USC. And Xavier, I've been a believer. They've won 5 in a row, beat Creighton. They've won at Marquette. They beat
No. They didn't beat Creighton. They torched Creighton.
them.
Destroyed them. And this was the Xavier team I think we all kind of expected to see at the start of the season when they looked really good. So, yeah, I'm totally fine with Boise State and Xavier being in and then taking out.
I have 2 more. Yeah. I have 2 more that are getting ignored for real. North Texas and George Mason. Both 22-plus win teams, both second in their conference. Why do they get so belittled, but we're allowing these?
George Mason had a really bad loss to Duquesne on Saturday. That was a bad loss.
No, but all these teams are finding bad losses.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I'm not discounting that. I feel like we are.
Green should be in. I'm a Mean Green guy over here.
North Texas should be in. North Texas is a tournament quality team. And I think George Mason is too. I wish the A10 would get 2 teams in. I think they should. They're not going to get the 3 that Nick said, 3 months ago. But
They're actually maybe my worst pick of the year. Actually, looking back on it.
But like VCU is one of those teams on Evan Mia's list. They're above the dotted line. That's a team you might want to pick to win the first and second rounds. So yeah, George Mason should be in there. Heck, throw Grand Canyon in there. I know Grand Canyon doesn't have a tournament quality resume, but if Utah Valley wins the WAC, why can't Grand Canyon also make it in too? So I don't know, but I'm with you, Dusty. I think George Mason should be in, and then North Texas 100% should be in.
We'll have this conversation every year. I just hate that so many of these. Okay, let's just say Oklahoma and Texas as well. And even Arkansas, these Power 5 schools that, yes, they play a tougher schedule, but
like Georgia's comfortably in right now.
Yeah.
Georgia,
not after tonight.
Okay, maybe not after tonight.
Steamboat. That's my play of the night, Nick, is South Carolina money line.
But like it's crazy. Like West Virginia is now comfortably in. West Virginia, like it's the bubble absolutely is atrocious this year.
And they want to
like
it.
Cincinnati's season's been over for a month, and they're still in it.
I want to make this statement real quick. Do you think, we talked about UConn and Gonzaga being 8-9 seeds possibly early. Do you think those teams would be more afraid if they saw Georgia in their first-round matchup or North Texas? And like, we don't know crap about them.
If I'm playing Georgia, I'm deathly afraid of watching Blue Cane just stroke it the entire game.
Okay, you're
like White's going to hand that game over to you.
No, yes, Georgia is a scare. Like all of these teams that you mentioned, like all the 9, 10, 11 seeds, they're all scary teams because
they're all very flawed.
Because they're flawed, but they also can flip a switch quickly because they're all immensely talented. Like BYU is crazy talented, but they've played like utter crap in so many different instances this year.
And they can't have sex.
That too. But like Baylor's crazy talented. Like they're a 10 seed. They could be one of the most talented 10 seeds of all time, but they play like crap. So if I'm like a 2 seed, I don't want to see Georgia in the second round. I also, if I'm a 3 seed, I don't want to see an 11 seed VCU because there was a time back 14 years ago when they were an 11 seed and weird things got happening. So, yeah, I think we're about to have the most chaos we've ever had in March Madness this year with all these double-digit seeds because who's going to flip the switch, who's going to decide to play well, we don't know because there's so much volatility with all of these teams. But get Oklahoma out of the freaking tournament. I don't care what your conference record is, and if you're playing in the freaking SEC West in football back in 2009, It doesn't matter. You should not be in a field of 68 with that bad of a conference record, no matter how good the SEC is.
Well, and my thing, it's not even just about your conference record. That means you literally are winning a fourth of your games, and you're going to get rewarded for the big.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Well, their non-conference sucked. Like they were not like they played no one outside of Michigan.
Good thing they didn't lose a game.
And that's like that's their like you should not have lost any of those games. Like
No.
they played nobody. So we're rewarding a team.
They won Atlantis, but they avoided Gonzaga in that. They didn't play
They put everyone in Atlantis,
Did they play West Virginia?
except for Atlantis himself.
Well, I think they beat Louisville, maybe.
They
Atlantis
beat Louisville and West Virginia, and I believe that's when DeVries got hurt, isn't it?
Yeah, that was when DeVries got hurt.
Okay,
Yes.
looking back, so it was Providence, Arizona, Louisville.
Yeah.
So that was Providence, not a good team.
That's the
Arizona when they
IT
were
tournament.
Yeah, that's no. Like they haven't beaten anyone in non-conference, like outside of Michigan, and I still think Michigan's no one.
Nick found
So
something. Nick found something.
They beat Georgia Tech and held Nathan George 8 points.
oh, we'll put them in the tournament then.
I think that might be the deciding
that
factor.
must be the reason.
Hey, a banner. Just let him.
Like I just reward a team like a Boise State, reward a team like a Xavier that is playing well at the end and actually like finish with an above 500 record in their conference.
This is coming from the SEC people.
And you can put I would put North Carolina in ahead of Oklahoma in my opinion. Like even as much as I don't want North Carolina in, that's fine.
Crab, what'd you say?
I was going to say, I just thought it's entertaining that in the Sun Belt, we had a four-way tie for first and a four-way tie for eighth in the conference this year. So
Yeah, did you see 4 teams post about it and celebrated winning the regular season conference title?
If they all post about it.
Yeah.
That's my preview for the Sun Belt starting tonight.
Did you guys see the most not dramatic coin flip in the history of sports with that Greg Sankey coin flip for South Carolina and Texas? That was they built that up so much. And all right, here we go. Like that was one of the most built up moments in women's basketball history, and it was.
Robbie, you kind of look like the type of person that would do the coin flip.
Yes, yes, I would be.
Like excited.
Wait, what did they flip the coin for?
To who would get the one seed in the
first
SEC
place,
tournament?
That's how we're going to decide for the women's tournament. Seriously?
Well, because they went through all the tiebreakers, and that was the
Yeah,
last
they
one that was
literally
available.
the first 7 tiebreakers. They all were the same. So
All right, that's okay. Then I'm in for the coin flip. Then I stand corrected.
Like, all right, whatever. Let's just do it.
Yeah, it was great TV. It was so like
Should just done a game of
how
knockout.
you could feel how dramatic it was, and then Greg Sankey just sucked all the energy out of it of flipping the coin. It was like, oh, that's it.
Greg Sucky.
They shoved in like Plinko or something like that. That's always riveting
That would be
stuff. Just
cool.
like drop a coin down something. But yeah, that
Or
was
go Thomas Jefferson, Aaron Burr style, where you just dueling pistols, and whoever dies.
To be fair, I believe that was Hamilton and Burr.
Sorry, Hamilton.
You've
You're
seen
right.
the
My
play,
apologies.
Robbie.
Gosh, have I seen the
Wow,
play?
yeah.
I went and saw the play in London. I'm an idiot. So yes,
Apparently
sorry.
not.
I confused the two.
All right, anything else in the bubble? Watch
Yes,
before we move on.
I saw Hamilton in London. It was awesome.
That's impressive.
It was
That is
really
really
cool.
cool, actually.
Anything else?
What I've seen is Hamilton. No, he's got it. Hamilton. Hamilton.
For people who
It's
haven't
gonna
seen
be
it, that's an all-time clip. Someone look it up. Richard Hamilton's game winner in the tournament.
Can I
It's
mention
Washington,
it's
I
gonna
believe.
be it's gonna be weird that Colgate might not be the team out of the Patriot League.
Them in Vermont, right? It's in Vermont.
Vermont possibly too, because Bryant has been getting the hype. So yeah,
Had him
it's
out.
The year of chaos.
we'll see.
All right, moving on to we're going to preview some games for the next couple nights. Again, I'll be talking more, everyone at home, so lucky for you. All right, tonight we're going to get more into these games a little bit. Our Kentucky Wildcats host LSU tonight, and Robbie will be in attendance for Rutgers at Purdue.
Loss.
But both teams got to have these ones. Have to have them. Texas at Mississippi State, big game for Texas. Mississippi State needs to have this one. BYU at Iowa State. Auburn's at Texas A&M. Texas A&M we really didn't hit on, but they've lost 4 in a row. And Wade Taylor the fourth is having a rough year.
Yuck.
See what's wrong with him. A big one, Arkansas at Vandy tonight as well. Some Big Ten bubble games. We kind of hit on them earlier. Indiana at Oregon. Nebraska at Ohio State. And then Mountain West teams all on the road, Boise State, New Mexico, San Diego State. Wednesday as well, only Florida I hit on here. Maryland at Michigan State, Florida at Bama, Missouri at Oklahoma. Big game for Oklahoma. And then Marquette at UConn. So it's just kind of games to look out for. And again, we mentioned only a bunch of conference tournaments continues next couple days and start. Yeah, boys, how do you feel about our two teams tonight? Again, Robbie, we'll start with you since you're going to be there.
Yeah, I feel terrible because we never play well against Rutgers. So I don't know what kind of Rutgers team is going to show up because they're not in the tournament picture, and I feel like Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper are kind of playing their last couple games in college basketball. So, what kind of Rutgers team is going to show up? I don't know. It is senior night. We're only going to celebrate Caleb first as the lone senior for Purdue. So I know Purdue was a 10.5 point favorite. Yeah, it's still at 10.5. I don't know I don't know if anything's changed with this Purdue team. They're a flawed team. They're going to continue to be a flawed team, but I hope that, again, as you mentioned, they stop the bleeding. That's what they needed to do that last Friday against UCLA. And after watching that game, I came away more impressed with how good UCLA is. They're scary. Like they're really good. So I think Purdue gets the job done tonight. I think they'll be fine. It might be a little close, but we'll see what happens. What are you doing?
Having fun with the toilet paper roll.
I'm pretty sure Dusty and I were just laughing at each other while you guys just sat there and spoke.
Jake, I'll ask you about Florida Bama, but real quick, actually, Jake, too, for people who don't know, me, Dusty, and Jake are all big Pacers fans, and then we have a lone Rockets fan in our life. Rockets at Pacers tonight. I got nothing on there. Eat my butt, Dusty. Go Sirs. As he brings up.
Fun fact, Dusty, I don't know if anyone knows this on the pod, but I made a bet a long time ago with Dusty that if he ever got married, he could have my Hakeem Olajuwon authentic Rockets jersey. So, and that jersey is freaking sweet. It's the old 97 jersey with the blue and the red and the stripes. It looks amazing. So, he's not wearing it on the pod today, so I'm a little disappointed.
I should have. Remember, too, last year I wore that jersey that you gave me, which, again, thank you. And also my wife, Haley, I had the same jersey from when I was in kindergarten.
Yeah.
And she fit in it still. So, good for me for picking out a winner for marriage.
Love it.
And I don't know, Jake went in the closet. I'm not sure what he's doing over there.
Finally coming
Jake
out.
Wilson's coming out of the closet. Damn it. Grabbing me to it.
I was trying to find my Pacers jersey, but I think it's hanging in the other room.
I had plus odds on that.
Hey.
Huh?
You all should have got plus odds on that.
Yeah, and by the way, shout out the Rockets. They had a back-to-back last night, and they sat out 4 dudes. I'm hoping they don't play tonight either.
They had 2 players last night play that I'd never even heard of. I mean, that was wild. Playing the best
Jabari
team
Smith?
in the NBA. No.
Highly overrated.
Jack McVay, maybe from our graduating class at Noblesville. I have no idea who it was, but
Jack McVay?
well, someone named McVay, but I never heard of it.
Well, I'm gonna look up this.
McBeth?
Hold on, I'm gonna look up this box score then.
You
You said it was last night.
Real quick,
Yeah, they played at the Thunder.
while Robbie looks up the box score.
Jock Landale. That's St. Mary's finest. Huh?
Yeah. Damn right it is.
He's been a good pro.
Hold on, Aaron Holiday is still playing in the league. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Jay Sean
That's
Tate,
athlete
Ohio State.
Marriage.
I love this. We're in the Rockets box score part of the pod.
There's a lot of college greats on that Rockets roster, though.
Jeff Green on there. Jeff Green has the most overrated game winner in March Madness history because he completely traveled and no one said a word. So, yeah.
We see you Vanderbilt fans, right?
Yeah.
Nothing against Vandy, right?
It was Vandy. 6-seed Vandy, too.
Oglesby.
Ogilvy was on the team. Derek Byers was on the team. That was a good Vandy team. But, yeah. Hope the Pacers get it done tonight. We got to keep winning.
Mm-hmm.
Jake, any thoughts on Florida Bama?
We're going to roll the fucking tide. It doesn't matter. Sorry, Robbie, I'll bleep that. I am so sick and tired of this Bama team. However, I think they're going to light up teams in March, but their cold streak's going to continue, and the Gators are going to show their defense and take the 2 seed in the SEC. Hanley, we will win by 12+, Nick. That is a guarantee.
Are you more tired of Alabama, or am I more tired of Michigan State?
We're more tired of Michigan State, Robbie.
Okay, gotcha. Just make sure we're on the same page there.
Yeah, we together, you and I are more tired about Michigan State. But yeah, no, the Gators, Nick, will roll tomorrow against the Tide, and we'll come back and talk to you guys Thursday. But I do have one shout out to give before I forget, because I will forget when it's time for our stuff. Is tonight is Noblesville versus Carmel in the sectional first round. So I will be heading to that here in a couple hours.
Go Millers.
Raise your hand if you never won a sectional game. No.
Raise your
place.
more than it's on your sectional team.
Fun fact.
Nothing.
Oh, go ahead, Jake.
You won one. You beat Broad Ripple.
Yeah, your team doesn't even exist anymore.
Okay, you went 0-4 in sectionals. I didn't know it.
That's tough, Jake.
I went 0-3. I was hurt one year.
So if you're hurt, it didn't count on the being on the roster. Okay, go ahead, Nick.
Well, for the record, I was a 2-year varsity player. Only one game in my career that I never play second. It was the one sectional win, so I'll still count that W for myself. But,
you should. You're on the roster.
I was not injured. I should say I was. I was suspended to start the year, but that's a story for a different day. That may have been why I was not playing too much. Sorry, Mom, if you're listening. I got nothing else from previews tonight, so I only have one funny. Did you guys see I guess two funny. Austin P. Last night, their coach, he coached in a full military uniform. And for the second time this year, he did against Butler this year, and they had a player puke in the middle of the game. So shout Austin P for being Austin P. And shout the other one, Omaha basketball. They won their regular season conference championship, I believe. To celebrate, their chancellor of the university popped out the trash can like she was an Oscar the Grouch and came out with an AEW wrestling title belt. So I think it was AEW night. I don't know what the hell is going on. Shout out to Austin.
We need Omaha in the tournament. Put them in the tournament. We need them in there. They're such a fun
give me as
team
many
to watch.
trash cans as we can. They love smashing trash cans, Nick.
Love it.
Is that true, Dusty? Do teams like that, like smashing trash cans, does that lead to winning?
And World Series, yeah.
Hey, yeah.
They have to convince themselves they're not trash, so that's what they have to do.
Also, fun healthcare fact for you guys. Apparently, the Austin P player threw up because he was overly dehydrated, and bringing in more hydration forces his body to finish away. So just because you're dehydrated.
So that's why I puke on Sunday mornings?
I don't think that's it.
All right, Duff, you want to do your story time? Then we'll get the shout-outs and say goodbye.
Quick fun story. I don't think I've told this one, but got brought up when I was in Lexington over the weekend when my father and I were trying to get through traffic to get to Rupp Arena, which I have a funny story I'll tell. Again, we keep having these stories of not being able to get into private events, but then find our way, blah, blah, whatever. I was invited to a Kentucky alumni basketball thing, which is awesome. It's also my former teammates that we'll see in Lexington that hopefully we'll see on the show next week. So there was a time where in the car it was me, AJ Stewart, who was a freshman at Kentucky that transferred after his sophomore year, actually to North Texas that we spoke about. Morgan Williams, who transferred to Duquesne, and Perry Stevenson, who spent his whole career at Kentucky. The four of us were in my 1994 Chevy Caprice driving to Rupp Arena, and we got in a fender bender. Completely my fault, but hit a car from behind, really bad dent, and this is the whole thing about just how fans are just crazy. So guy hops out of the car, beyond pissed off, like you can tell. I get out of the car, he doesn't recognize me, no surprise, but he looks inside the car and sees the other three. And literally his response was, "Oh my gosh, you guys are trying to get to Rupp right now, right? We have a game." And we're like, "Yeah." I was like, "I'm so sorry. Like, what can I do?" And he said, No. Get back in your car and get to the stadium. That's all that matters right now. Go Caps." And it's just one of those things where it's like, you think this guy? I mean, he had a huge dent, and my dad and I were talking about. We're imagining that this guy would then go home, tell his wife, would be like, "This is a prideful dent that we're gonna keep forever." So that's just an example of fans being crazy, the stuff that you get away with, and it was a very innocent thing that happened, but I was not paying attention because those idiots were blaring music, going to a game that really none of us even played in. But there you go.
Crab, a great story as always, but is this the second time you've told a story about like getting out of a ticket or some sort of like automobile incident?
Yes, that is. There's two of them. The other one was that speeding ticket that happened years later.
That's awesome. So advice out there.
Love the bluegrass.
Shout out to Bluegrass. Appreciate as always, Crab. Shout outs before we go. Rob, just go with you.
Shout out to Caleb First, currently the winningest player in Purdue basketball history. And he's going to get honored at senior night tonight. And also, shout out to my wife. She's like the greatest person on earth. And she's handled everything that's been going on with Rizzo and everything else that's been happening with me lately. So I'm very, very lucky to have her.
Is she getting honored at senior night?
She'll get honored. Don't you worry.
Wow. Okay. Baby.
Shout out to the one and only Disney and the fact that Nick moved out this week and left his picture of Disney. So,
wow.
I'm keeping this hostage, Nick. Find a new picture. So there's one. Secondly, shout out to the Millers sectionals tonight. It sounds like it should be aligned up to this Saturday night. Should be number 1 Fishers versus number 2 Noblesville for the sectional title to go hopefully move on to the state championship. But finally, last but not least, shout out to March and this pod, and Nashville is only a week away. So that is what I'm excited for, ladies and gentlemen. And for our listeners, can't remember if we've told them or not, but we are going to be able to do some stuff in Nashville. Pod-related stuff. So I will have my equipment and we'll be ready to roll. And hopefully we can get some live updates from Robbie and Rizzo back here in the great state of Indiana as well. Robbie, you going to any Big Ten games?
I don't know yet. That's still on the table, but I don't know if I can get away from school to do it. So I'm going to do my best. But here's hoping
field trip.
That I'll have the opportunity. Yeah, whole field trip. Yeah. So it's on the it's on my to-do list of things potentially to accomplish. Yes.
Jake, you holding up that Disney portrait made me feel like Liam Neeson and taken like, give me back my daughter. I will find you. So
give me back my son.
Give me back my son.
His name being Brian Mills in that too is hilarious.
Which people don't know, that's the name of our father. So
still the same spelling.
Shout out. Crab, I'll get to you last for your shout out because you always have a great one. I was going to shout out the Toronto Maple Leafs and Jake. Jake drove the to and from Pittsburgh Saturday and Sunday. Me and Jake saw an unreal game on Sunday. It was a 6-5 overtime thriller. One of the best hockey games I've ever seen in my life. So shout out to the Leafs, America's team, and shout out to Jake for driving on that Sunday drive home. The GOAT. Great way to spend a birthday. Shout out Pittsburgh. It's a fun time.
Is this the year?
I think so.
Oh!
I think so.
This is the year.
They're first in division. I like the new coach a lot. They have a good goaltending. I think this is the year. Famous last word.
And as Nick mentioned, Pittsburgh, people, underrated city. Very underrated city.
Except Tom's watching.
Great city.
If you're looking for SEC Network, it is not the place to go.
Yeah, don't go to Tom's to watch the SEC Network.
Crab, finish us off. What's your shout out, buddy?
I have one that I'm going to get back to us hopefully by Thursday. I do want to find out which coach voted Duke number 1 in the coaches poll. I'm working on that right now. I'll get it. But my main shout out is, do you gentlemen remember the first 15 seed to be the 2 seed?
It was the Hampton Pirates, wasn't it?
It was not.
Or Richmond. Was it Richmond?
I have no idea.
It was Richmond over Syracuse in 1991.
Yeah. Okay. Forgot there was one before that. Yeah.
On that Richmond team was Curtis Blair. So we're going with the living legend today. Curtis Blair was the point guard of that team. Was also a draft pick by the Houston Rockets. And since 2008, Curtis Blair has been a referee in the NBA.
That's cool.
So in honor of marching upsets, he spent a brief career in Turkey, became a ref, whereas number 74 is a ref. He was one-time CAA Player of the Year, 2-time All-Defensive Team, 2-time First Team All-CAA. So Curtis Blair, God bless you. Hope he's calling the Rockets-Pacers game tonight. I have no idea if he is. But if he is, tee up those MFers on the Pacers. Curtis Blair's your shout-out today.
Fun fact, one of the other officials in the NBA, Tyler Lake, he was one of my officials in intramurals at Purdue.
Wow.
He also sucks then, too. So
Wow.
he just
Yeah.
stuck with the theme.
There you go.
At least he's consistent.
It'd be good to be an official at any level.
Curtis Blair does not suck. Voting for him.
I hope he's there tonight.
Let's get a little C. Blair. Why not? Come help out the servers, C. Blair. All right, boys. Thank you guys for another great podcast. Robbie, thanks for joining. Thanks for letting the three Mills brothers double or triple team you. So appreciate that as always.
First time for everything.
We'll be back Thursday with Check Please.
Check please.
Until then, I is Nick, that is Robbie, that is Jake, and that is Dusty Mills. Everyone have a great Tuesday.
I can confirm that Curtis Blair is not doing the Rockets-Patriots game tonight. The Rockets.
Auburn -4.5. Put the mortgage on it.
That's awkward because I just bet plus 4.5 for Texas A&M.
Leafs here.
Dusty, last thing before we go, check the Snapchat I just sent you. You'll be glad to see that one.
Hope you're right.
Nick, when are you getting your Nathan George tattoo?
If he gets to the semifinals of the ACC tournament, I'll consider it. He at least has to get there. We got to get some more winning for NG.
That's the only sliding into an athlete's DM I will allow is you professing your love to Nathan George.
He does not come out of the game. I don't know what's going on in Atlanta.
Damon Stoudemire has nobody else. That's it.
Been watching too many Knicks games.
All right. I'll see y'all.
Jake, do we need to stay on or anything?
Nope. We